The CC-150 Polaris aircraft behind me there is used as strategic airlift for the Canadian Forces. It's VIP transport, moving trips and humanitarian aid around the world, as well as it's an air-to-air refueling asset. So we provide support to the pointy end to our fighter force and as well as foreign receivers here in RIMPAC to offload thousands of pounds of gas to them to extend their fight. So we're considered a force multiplier. We allow them more on station time by basically being an airborne gas station, if you will, for the fighters.
We're in Winnipeg-based aircraft, and half of our mission is air-to-air refueling and the other is search and rescue. Here at RIMPAC, we work with our Canadian jets, but also with a lot of the American Navy and Marine F-18s. And most of our missions are over water, so they'll be taken off of their aircraft carrier and joining right up on us to get our gas. So they can complete a longer mission that they wouldn't otherwise be able to do. When we do an exercise with the F-18s in Bougainville or Cold Lake, normally there's not that much going on, so we'll be the only tanker out there with a few jets. This is a lot more complex. They create highways in the sky, and we have different training areas, different refueling tracks. So there's a lot more moving parts in an exercise like this. There'll be multiple tankers. Here at RIMPAC, you'll have up to a couple hundred sorties per day, so a lot of aircraft moving, flying.
RIMPAC's a very complex exercise, and we're working with nations we don't normally work with. And every airplane's got different offload rates, different procedures, different policies when it comes to air refueling. So we have to learn how to work with them. The airplane behind me, you can see, is fitted with two refueling pods on the outboard of the wings, and they're basically connected to our fuel tanks inside the belly. Normally where the baggage and cargo would go below, we have four massive centerline tanks, which through all the piping and the magic there, we extend the hoses, rubber hoses, with a drogue, a basket drogue it's called, on the end. And the receivers have a probe they can extend from the nose of the aircraft, and they basically more or less just kind of plug in, fly up to the basket and plug in to the hose to get fuel. Very tricky. It takes some delicate flying by the fighter guys as well as by the tanker crews. It takes a lot of coordination and of course, as you can imagine, the basket isn't always stable for them up there. Weather can be a huge role, visibility, maneuvering of both airplanes to stay in our associated areas, given the overall picture of RIMPAC, where you have multiple packages operating in different regions, different airspace.
We have a fuselage tank in the aircraft that basically takes up almost the whole cargo compartment. That gives us an extra 23,000 pounds of gas with extra pumps in there, and it makes it so we can give them our fuel a lot faster. Since we're a slower aircraft and the F-18 is pretty fast, we actually have to speed up to about 220 knots, and then we'll deploy our hoses off of the pods that are on our external part of our wing. So the hose is 74 feet long, and there's a basket at the end, and the F-18 with their retractable probe will connect, and we'll be able to pass gas to them at about a couple thousand pounds a minute.
It's very exciting to be working with over 20 nations, and nations we don't normally see.
I love my job.